In this video, I'm going to show you how to use Canvas Studio to create a video about your assignment instructions for your students. So you're not going to need this for all of your assignments, obviously. You probably have some low stakes things in your course like quizzes or a straightforward discussion board or maybe, something where they're just answering a few questions. But for those bigger things, those higher stakes projects and essays, things where you usually stand in front of your students in the classroom and talk to them about it, kind of explain what you're looking for, give them the big picture, what the learning objectives are and why they matter, and answer their questions and all of those things. You can replicate that for your online students using Studio. So what I'm going to do is open my assignment in one tab, and then I'm going to actually go to another tab to open Studio, because I'm going to want to show my assignment in my Studio video. So I'm just going to go to Studio on the far left. We call this the global navigation in Canvas. And from the top, we have this record button, and I'm going to select screen capture. And I'm going to show you something pretty cool that Studio does. So it allows you actually to record your screen and your webcam. And I think this is such a great strategy for this kind of video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the page where I have my assignment open, and Studio gives me this box, and it tells you, you probably saw that it was going to record anything within this box. So what I can do is kind of just position this around my Canvas window like so. And I'm going to keep my webcam on, so I don't have to use my webcam. I can just simply record my screen, or I can simply record my webcam. But I'm going to do both for this one, because what I'm going to do when I start recording is I'm going to point to things, I'm going to show them the rubric, and I'm also going to just be talking to them. So I want that both. I want to capture both my screen and myself. So when I'm ready to start recording, I'm just going to position my page, and again, you just use these little handlebars to drag this box around. So you could just record this part of your screen if you want to. You don't have to include all of this other stuff. But what I like to do is kind of give it some room over here for my webcam. So I can actually move this around so it doesn't have to be over here. But yeah, like I like to leave this part in my recording so that my webcam image is not overlapping what I'm trying to show with the rest of my recording. So when I'm ready to start recording, you probably can't see, I'll just move this up a scotch so you can see that record button. I'm just going to hit record. It's going to give me a countdown. And then I'm going to start talking about my assignment for my students. I'm going to give them the big pictures, all those points that we mentioned, why it's important, what I expect, what I'm looking for. Maybe I'll talk about really great examples that students in the past have turned in, stuff like that. Then I might go over my rubric, blah, blah, blah. And then when I'm done, I'm going to hit this pause button. And then I'm going to hit done. And it pops up another window here. So it lets you edit all of this, like if you wanted to. So for example, at some previous point, I had changed my webcam shape to be, an oval for some reason. I'm going to switch that back to a box, but it's pretty cool because if it is big, I can actually shrink it down a little bit or even crop it. So I don't want like my treadmill back there. I can kind of crop that out and then just move it so it's off to the side here. Or I could even once I'm done cropping it, I can make it bigger. Like if maybe I have more room or whatever, you can kind of edit this. And then when you're done, you just click done. You might not have to edit at all. You can just ignore this edit button altogether. And I do have a video about editing with Studio on our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about that. But all you really have to do is just do that recording, click pause and then done, and then give it a name. And then click upload. And then I'll click continue. And you can see when I go back to my Studio library, it's here. So now that I've recorded my video from my Studio library, I have to actually add this to my assignment. So I'm going to go back to my assignment, click edit. And then I'm going to find this, I'm going to find where I want to put it on this page. So I'm just going to put it, actually I'm going to write some instructions. And then I'm going to use the Studio button to add it to my course. So I'm going to look for apps because I don't see Studio here. Usually if you don't use Studio often, it's going to be behind this little plug button, which is called the apps button. Then you can find Studio. If you don't see it here, you can just click View All and find Studio. And now it's going to bring up that Studio library and I can click to embed it. It asks me if I want to display media tabs, and I'm going to leave that on so I can show you what that looks like. And then I'm going to click Embed. And so now it's added this video to my page. So I'm going to click Save so you can see what it looks like. Now when my students come to this page, they'll have this video to watch, and I'm going to start and rewatch again. The assignment instructions. So the other cool thing about Studio is that when you display media tabs, this comment section will come up for both you and your students. So let's say your student is watching the video and they have a question about the assignment. It allows them to add that question as a comment, and then you can come in here and reply to that question. And what's cool about this is that everyone in the class will be able to see those comments. So it's not just a one-on-one conversation between you and your student. It's between you and your student, and the rest of the class then has access to both that question that they may not have thought to ask themselves, but will benefit from hearing your answer to. So I love how this opens up those discussions for online students, just like what normally and naturally happens in the physical classroom. So you can also subscribe to these comments. So when you click this three-dot menu here, I'm going to go ahead and click on, and this will allow me to be notified via email whenever one of my students comments on the video. I've never heard of anyone getting inundated by comments, but you can turn those off if it's too much, and then maybe just set like a reminder in your calendar, like every so often, to go in and check and make sure there's no unanswered questions from your students. And it does put that little dot there, so you can see wherever there's a comment on the timeline, it'll add a little dot there. So yeah, that's it. That's how you create these videos with Studio. And if you need any help doing that, you can feel free to reach out to your school's ITC or contact 6Tech.